Hello there, this is LeChuck. In this video we talk about shares and loan, and I wanted to show you some numbers from Ortex. Shares and loan on Friday were 138.55 millions. Shares and loan available today, or not available, shares and loan, 92.50 million. The decrease, that is a massive chunk, or as we call it, AMC. What does this mean? How will it help, or has it already helped? I'll show you something. I posted on Reddit about 3 weeks ago a hypothesis that hedges are fucked because of high utilization. This is the link. You find it below in the description. Shout out to Trace and Shorterwicks, who both picked up my theory a couple of weeks ago too. I tried to link the Reddit and the two videos from Shorterwicks and Trace Trades in the description of the video if I fail to link it directly in the video. Please do not be irritated by the username. My old Counter-Strike tag was Mutton, and on Reddit I'm still u/lemutton. Whatever. Let us dive into the Reddit post. The paper that brought me up to make this post is linked here, and when you click on it you find the paper of Paul Schultz. He's professor of finance at the University of Notre Dame. The title is "What Makes Short Selling Risky? Other Short Sellers." Interesting. It's 49 pages long, full of academic research and references to other professors, formulas, datas. It's big, it's really big. If you smart ape, you can read it. If you just smooth brained like me, run through it and yeah, be astonished. But what I found is this. This is very, very, very cool. So he says short selling risks are tied to utilizations. Oh, or the proportion of shares available to lend that are actually on loan. So remember, 92.15 million shares are on loan, and the proportion of the shares that are lent out is, yeah, he says this is part of what can occur in a forced recall. So the proxy for the risk that a loan recall may force a short seller to close a position, I use an equal reduction shares available to lend and shares on loan on the same day. For most stocks, this is a rare event. For easily borrowed stocks, I estimate that a forced recall occurs once in 8 years. That's not much. For stocks with utilization above 75%, forced recalls occur about once every 26 days. Utilization is strongly associated with recall risk. Now that's big. When we look at the current data, this is the live data I stream right now. This is interesting. Something is buggy. Let's go back. The data. Okay, the data is now live. It's from my Interactive Broker account, practically from CapTrader. He's a reseller of Interactive Broker, and yeah, data from now, and we see 87% utilization. The most of you know we were about 99% up utilization the last few weeks. So that's yeah, coming back to the big chunk, what a massive chunk. We are way above this 75%. So forced recalls occur every 26 days. Now, what is a loan recall? An institution, the lender, it's like pension funds or some big institutions like Wonder or whatever that have millions of shares, and they don't need it for a certain time or longer time. They lend it out for a fee, and the borrower can do whatever he wants with it. And without having a reason, the lender has the right to request the return of the shares at any time. Now shares are not numbers, and the broker can give the lender back any AMC share. It's like you give your friend $1, borrow it, lend it, and he gives you back $1. It must not be that dollar. It's okay if it's $1. So, but if the event occurs that there are no shares to borrow left, the broker has a problem. He has to find new ones, and if he can not lend it from elsewhere, like from another broker, the fun begins. And there, the lender will now issue a formal recall that allows for a buy-in to take place. And there kicks the T+2, and basically it's T+3 in. You find all the description here in this post. It's invited you to read it. Basically, what's now interesting, the broker has to give back the shares he borrowed, and the shares were shorted by clients. So where does he get the shares when he can locate it from anywhere else? I have found on the Interactive Broker page, you click this link, you come there. The client holding short stock positions are at risk of having these positions bought in and closed out by Interactive Brokers, EBKR's Interactive Broker, oftentimes with little or no advance notice. This risk, which is inherent to short selling, and generally outside the control of the client. And this is interesting, it is also subject to regulatory rules which dictate the time frames which brokers must act. So it's not only Interactive Brokers that goes by this rule. It must other brokers must have the same rules. So my post is actually over months old, but not outdated, I believe. From Friday to today, the number of shares on loan dropped by a whopping 46.4 million shares. I show again. We have 138 and today 92.15. That's a decrease of 33.48%. That's over a third. But look at this. I made also a post around this time, 3 weeks ago, you see it here, where I had the vision or idea or the wish that AMC goes from easy to borrow to hard to borrow to maybe not shortable. And I tracked from starting May 10th the number of shares on loan. So on May 10th it was 153.12 million shares that were on loan. And we go down to this date and we have 92.50 million. That's a decrease in a month, not even a month, of 60.97 million shares since May 10th. Nearly 61 million shares, that's 40% that shares on loan were recalled by the lenders. So I do not know if brokers A could have located the shares anywhere to give it back to the lender, or B bought them themselves to give it back to the lender, or C did nothing and lenders bought them on the market and charged the broker. But I have the theory that at least some lenders wanted their shares back. You see, remember, already 60 million shares were taken out of the shares on loan pool since May 10th. And they were bought in any way, or were part, I repeat, part of that push that drove us up to $77.3. What does this mean now? Well, simple as that. If the shares on loan decrease further, Hedgie have no possibility to borrow millions of shares to short. There will only be left, I hope so, in the future, the few from the lending programs from the brokers. If you did not know that, when you buy a stock and hold, most brokers can take your shares and give it in the lending program. So these are shares from you and me, and the brokers are able to use them to borrow for shorting. But most brokers allow you to sign off from this lending program. Do it now if you have not. So, is the squeeze over? No. Last week was not a squeeze. This was just a loan recall. But this can be the first domino stone of a squeeze. Why? Remember possibility C. Brokers did nothing and lenders bought on the market and just presented the broker the bill. Well, no, I do not think so. How that was the way it worked. The financial market is a big snake pit and everybody hates everybody. The broker will not just eat the shit and walk away with a loss. The broker wants his money. He has the opportunity to close out clients' short positions. Here I show you again. Risk of having these positions bought in and closed out. Closing out short positions by force is nothing less than a margin call in my opinion. This is what I see. Loan recall causes a margin call. This causes a short squeeze. And as a fun fact, we also have FTDs and gamma squeeze on our A portfolio. For now, only the loan recall is active because brokers may for now only use collateral to pay for the loan recall. It is also possible that the collateral the broker gave the lender for the borrowing the shares under the loan program has just been eaten up. But you know what happens when the collateral is eaten up? Margin calls and wants more money. And if Hedgie can provide more collateral fast, you guessed, they get liquidated, like a Gigos. As a bonus, I show you this Yahoo Finance article. Jeffries blocked short sales in GameStop, AMC, and Microvision. And they will no longer offer custody on naked options. Ooh, naked options. What's naked? Naked shorts? What the fuck? And this is the most, for me, the most important part of this article. The firm will no longer allow the execution of short sales of those securities. This is interesting. May this be connected to loan recall because they have not any shares in, because they had to give it back to the lender? Apes, I think this is a giant feedback loop. And hedges neither can stop it nor get out. It got uncontrollable. Loan recall, margin call, short squeeze, gamma squeeze, FTDs, everything. What is our job as AMC holders now? Hold. Just hold with diamond hands. Hedges already lost. We just have to wait and let the bodies hit the floor. 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 Let the bodies hit the I am not a financial advisor. This was not financial advice.